I've always gotten this question quite a bit, and when I first started getting it, I was always baffled by it because it made no sense to me. And it goes like this: what would Amanda say if she was here, or she's not here to defend herself, so I feel very bad for her because she doesn't have a voice in this conversation? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Okay, my wife, this is the first time seeing me. I was married for 25 years, and my wife unfortunately succumbed to alcohol use disorder about 5 years ago. And I tell stories about, the experience as a family member. And unfortunately, my wife did pass away from alcohol use disorder. That's not really defensible. But I think what the real question is, people would want to find out, why did she go down this road? What caused her to drink herself really into this short life? I mean, she died when she was 58 years old. What caused her to go down this road? And I've actually made videos at just exhausting length to explain the origins of why she went down this road. But still, people will say, what's her opinion of things? So let's delve into this a little bit deeper. And to begin with, I mean, the question itself is really kind of dismissive of everything that I'm really trying to accomplish on this page, which is ultimately awareness for both recovering alcoholics, active alcoholics, and just as importantly, their families. That's the whole point of the thing. I don't need to get into semantics with what would my wife's opinion be if she was sitting next to me. Well, I could tell you some of the conversations I had with her. I mean, if this is new insight, great. But I mean, she had a lot of physical issues, and a lot of it was between her own two ears. Quite frankly, a lot of it emotionally, she dwelled upon things that had happened in her childhood. She did have trauma. I mean, it's very understandable. When she was 16, she was kind of shunned from her family. I've talked to some of her friends in high school because she was actually sent to an all-girls school when she was 16. And what really happened, up there. And, she was a pretty wild kid, apparently. I mean, she drank a lot when she was 17, 18, 19 years old, long before I ever met her. And I was not privy to this until after she passed away. Actually, I had some conversations with some people she grew up with. So, I mean, she had issues, and she was covering up a lot of pain, emotional pain in her life. And then that emotional pain, tacked on with all the alcohol that she consumed over the years, physically wore out her body. Now, she always had a thyroid problem. She had an underactive thyroid, and eventually her whole thyroid system did not work. She had to take levothyroxine her whole life. And this was a big part of the problems that she incurred. So if she stopped drinking, or if she had a problem with drinking, she would stop taking the levothyroxine. So she would not only be detoxing, she would be detoxing from the prescription drugs at the same time. And her hormones would be just out of this world. I mean, she would be beet red. I mean, I had to call the hospital. I had to call the ambulance so many times. And it was just all these physical issues. And then later, because she had gained so much weight because of the levothyroxine, or because of her thyroid, not having a thyroid, not being able to really burn calories, her body just was not burning calories. And so much of it was really in existence because of the alcohol. So if she was sitting next to me, she would say, I drank because just the physical pain of her knees, her hips. She had problem with those, all because of the weight and because of the thyroid issue that she had. She drank because of the emotional trauma that she went through. She drank because she had a genetic disposition. I mean, a lot of her family members had issues. Her grandmother passed away from it, for example. And it was just normalized when she was growing up. Her family all drank wine. I found this strange when I first met her, but I mean, they all did, so I just thought it was part of the makeup. I thought it was just this new world that I had entered into. It wasn't a world that I knew much about. I always had an athletic background. My dad was a football, baseball, basketball coach. We had a very athletic background. Alcohol just wasn't part of my upbringing. So when I met Amanda, this was a whole new world for me. So again, if Amanda was sitting next to me, she would probably be talking about she drinks to cover up a lot of her physical pain, emotional and physical pain. That's what she would explain to you is the reason why she was drinking. And it would be very accurate, but it would not be an in-depth conversation because she would not have the ability to really admit what the real issue was, is that she had a drinking disorder. And she was never able to come to terms with that. I used to ask her all the time when she would come home from a rehab, do you think you can ever look me in the eyes and say, I will never, ever drink again? Or can you look in the mirror and ask yourself, you will never, ever, ever, never, ever drink again? And she would quite frankly give me an honest answer of, no, I don't think I can do that. So if you want an honest answer, that's your honest answer from Amanda, right from Amanda. I had that conversation with her so many times. She genuinely never had any intention of stopping to drink. And I think all the rehabs and all the craziness that she went through was just all part of not facing culpability, not taking accountability on her part, and she was aware of that, and she was physically addicted to the alcohol. It's just a tragic story. And unfortunately, the only thing that could have saved her is if she had stopped in her 20s, probably before I ever met her, unfortunately. And being woefully ignorant coming into this union, unfortunately, I probably wasn't a lot of help because I had no idea what was really going on with her. And again, I know this video is a little bit longer than normal, but it's an important subject because, you know, it's really kind of an indefensible conversation. There's a lot of pain in her life, unfortunately, and that's the reality of why she's no longer here. And you can read it. Again, I want to point out her memoir. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. It was the story of her 25-year decline with the disease, and she succumbed almost 5 years ago in about 3 weeks. Amazing, really. Again, you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on my Linktree right above. If you're in the United States, it's on ebook and many different sites. Again, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. We have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. And when you're ready to work with me, the link is in the Linktree. I have a complete coaching program that's designed for the alcoholic and the family. Set up a call. The call is free. The course is definitely not. And the call is about the course. And again, thanks so much for listening.